the European Union, if you go under the ground, there's no resource. There's nothing. It's dirt, right? You go a little bit on the east of Europe to Russia.
Russia, they have
all the gas is there. All the gas is there. So
aluminium. Ils ont l'aluminium. Ils ont l'aluminium aussi. Ils ont le truc là qui fait l'aluminium. J'ai oublié le nom du truc là. Mais oui, enfin oui. Ok, ils ont du pétrole, ils ont du gaz, ils ont des diamants.
Now you go to Africa. You go to Africa, and everybody's talking about Web3, about green energy, etc. But they're ready.
Merci, Papa K. Drop that knowledge.
They're about to plunder Africa like crazy. They're about to. This is going to be the new rape.
DRC, Democratic Republic of Congo, is about to be even more destroyed than ever.
All the cobalt, coltan, manganese, copper is there in Africa. The gold, the diamonds, everything is there. So,
sir,
all these countries, if they give you the power to decide the prices, to say how, and to control your destiny
and your currency,
they die. You know, you have to understand balance of things. They are here with our resources, and we're here, and we become smart. We have smart leaders, people that are incorruptible, everything you want. If for us to go here, they have to go there, because it's called balance, right? So even if we do this and they do this, people who've been used to living rich in Europe will revolt on their governments. So the CIA makes everything possible for it to stay this way.
Well, not only them, you know, MI6,
of course, because
Mossad,
it's a question
etc.
The interest. So, and men are men. It's easy to corrupt men, or to threaten men, or to kill men. So listen, there's been a few trying to.
Nowadays, you don't need to kill the person,
etc.
You can just go on the phone and pick out a couple of pictures of the guy sending dick pictures and shit, and let him know that, hey, look, by the way, you know, we have this. You want to continue playing around?
You remember your girl, Fanta?
You know?
Yeah. I don't know Fanta.
So is you licking the pum pum. Oh, je t'aime, mon bébé. Oh, je vais te donner. Ah, ma femme n'est rien pour moi. Je t'aime, toi. Come on. No, but this is one of the things. We are so dumb, man, sometimes, you know, and so corruptible.
No, it's not us. It's men. Men are greedy.
Mais c'est vrai.
No, listen. It's not us. Listen, I give you now $100 million. $100 million to go lead Central Africa. In 5 years, you at the helm. He's $100 million. You're going to do exactly as we say. You will receive phone calls every week from McKinsey and the US, the UN, etc. And you will do as we say. The rest, we don't care. All we want is this, control of those minds, etc. Here's $100 million.
Exactly.
I'm not going to take it. Yeah, everybody is not going to take it on Twitter.
But officially, you are taking the fucking money.
When it's there in front of you,
Baba, you will take it, bro.
They give everything. So $100 million. And listen, we're talking about $100 million from people. They can print that money. All they have to do,
of course,
they go.
They never have to reimburse it anyway because they own.
Yeah, they just create $100 million. They create on the ledger. It's digital now anyway, and they just send it to you. And there you go. oh, go and do what we said. You will do what they say.
Now that it's all digital, they have another way of pressuring you, which is the moment you don't do what they say, you fucked. And that's the and so this takes us to one of the things I wanted to talk about today. So it
sounds like our phone conversation. We are going from places to places.
Exactly.
Hello.
Muhammad Ali. It looks
Bruno,
like
Bruno said something interesting.
Thank you, King. Yeah, go
Before
ahead.
we move,
let's read
something interesting. The problem with moving is not wokeness; it's the backbiting done by activists who just want to do their ideologies at the expense of the move quality. I fully agree.
I agree as well.
Yeah.
Talking about the internet and talking about censorship and talking about new ways of controlling, narrative, especially when we talk about the African continent and the aspiring leaders or the thinkers or the philosophers or the intellectuals in general who are really now, because you have to understand what's going on right now in Mali and Guinea-Conakry. Guinea-Conakry is one of the founding fathers of la CEDEAO. So you're talking about people during the times of Sékou Touré, etc. Those are people who are these two countries might influence the entire continent, bringing back a sense of sovereignty and pride for a lot of Africans who have seen not enough of that with the leaders that we've been dealing with. And I forgot the name of this African intellectual said, but it's also understandable because a lot of these leaders didn't know any better, right? So there was different times, different realities. So you can't really blaming the past. That's great, but it's not going to advance the conversation. However, strengthening ourselves from these lessons of the past to not repeat certain mistakes is essential. And so what they were saying is that, so there is, for example, France is losing ground in Africa, right? But not only, right? There's an overall rejection of the Western world and the Western way of the Westernized way of handling politics and diplomacy and all that. As a matter of fact, as you said earlier, there's no more diplomacy whatsoever, and some African presidents are feeling sort of like empowered by some of these backings from the Western countries, and they want to act like Democrats by saying things and raising certain voices which are dictated to them by the people that have interest in their countries or have interest in the countries that they want to destabilize, etc. And now the nations and the people who have access to internet are saying no. We the new generation, the new African, don't want to see that again. We want to be sovereign. We want to be, in control of the narrative, and we don't want to fight each other. We are all Africans, and that's one of the beautiful things that I found. I don't know if you noticed, if you follow the recent news, but so Guinea-Conakry and Guinea-Bissau the president of Guinea-Bissau just dropped a couple of things that were regarding this whole story of the 49 Ivorian militaries that are held present in Mali because they entered supposedly without any permission, etc., with arms in the country. And so now they're held in prison until there's a judgment, or there can be a resolution politically. But anyway, bottom line is that this led to a conflict where, Guinea-Conakry, having had also a coup with the new president now, who's the military, and he's the president of the transition. So technically what's going on is that you have a discourse that this military, right, who you would think are dumb as fuck, but the way those guys express themselves is so sophisticated and so elaborated, and they send a very clear message. And I'm not saying that I'm against or for or whatnot. I'm just looking at just, factually what these people are saying. And they're saying we are one continent with different, way of functioning. We are one people. Our beef is not with our brothers and sisters from those respective countries. it is with your leaders. We have to solve these situations as Africans, between Africans, to our Africans' ways of resolving situations and problems, not trying to apply, these ways of doing diplomacy applied by the westernized world, which are in no way, shape, or form to be called diplomacy anymore, because it's all about, strong arming people, etc., etc. And so, so there was, to the point I was trying to make about the internet and trying to the way they're trying to use now this modernization of Africa when it comes to access to the internet, etc., etc. They want to. It seems like there is two opposite forces. One which is highly Pan-African, who wants Africa to become more responsible for its own destiny, with truly strong, powerful African intellectuals, leaders, in charge of the destiny and choosing their business, their partners, without having had to be, held at gunpoint by, Western countries, ex-colonies, etc., because they are making choices or taking decisions that go against the monopoly of these given countries. And so supposedly there is a massive injection of fund allocated, and the French government supposedly was trying to implement that and pass it as the fund for democracy or something like that. When in all actuality, it looks like there's going to be allocation of funds to really just close more and more of these portals and more of these channels of expressions of this young and new Africa that is trying to make their voice heard around the world, but mostly directed to the African people.
This is the problem with the rise of these multinationals own everything. Imagine you become one of these new African leaders. We are at the age where we can start taking our bright mind, see if the people want to follow us, right? So we start using our platforms. We have platforms, right?
Mm-hmm.
We start using our platforms as a vector to convey a message. Your grandfather was a politician. Your father was in politics as well.
Yeah.
Was a leader in sense. My father is. Mom is a woman who been doing things in the shadows. My sister's a politician. My brother-in-law is my brother.
But hold on, Kay. We are dealing with a lot of dumb folks, man. I think, but when you say that your mother's been doing things in the shadow,
yeah,
a lot of common people won't understand what that means, and it's usually associated to dark practices. Can you elaborate, maybe without giving details, but just elaborate what is the role of a powerful and enigmatic and charismatic woman like your mother or my mother, or some of these women of leaders?
I believe the people who are here need the explanation. I trust the people who come here.
Do as well, but
So, listen. People will always want to interpret the things the way they want, but that's not where I'm going. Imagine that we decide to use our platforms. I'm approaching 200,000 followers on YouTube, 200,000 on Instagram, 1 million on Facebook, 50,000 on Twitter. I now start swinging my message towards something. Mark Zuckerberg was on Joe Rogan recently.
Yeah.
And he said that he received a call from the CIA about Ukraine, about Joe Biden's son.
Is it Bo Biden or something? Or Hunter Biden or whatever?
Yeah, Hunter Biden being in Ukraine doing stuff.
Yeah, Bo Biden passed away, right? Rest in peace.
And so they called him and they said, hey, there's going to be a lot of misinformation on this particular subject about Ukraine. So that's way before the war. We're talking about before the elections of last US election. So 3-4 years ago.
Yeah.
And Trump is pounding on this because he has the information. But now they're saying, yeah, there's going to be a lot of misinformation about this specific subject. And he said, so what we did, we didn't prevent people from posting about it, but we just prevented people from seeing it. So all of a sudden you post about something and Facebook can decide that people who follow you will not see it.
Yeah.
So I was watching this and I was like, yo. And I was like, okay, so the problem is, okay. So it comes to a point now where now you have people explaining to you that if you say something that ended up being true, there was a laptop, there was stuff happening in Ukraine before the war, there was a lot of corruptions and stuff that now, thanks to the war, everything got put under the rug, right? But even before, those of us who know where to get information, who are connected, we know when something is true way before people know. But the general public, they didn't see it because when you post something, people are not really going to your profile to know if you post something. Power away. It's the new, and all of a sudden you post it, it would be on your profile, but it would not be on the news feed. The next level of that is what they did to Andrew Tate. It's just, we don't like what you say. We're gonna have the narrative saying that it's dangerous for young boys or for X part of the population, and then we can deplatform you, which is from one switch. Facebook can remove you from Facebook, Instagram, and even block your WhatsApp.
I mean, they blocked the guy's Gmail, and he was literally blocked from the internet. Banks, he couldn't access his bank account, his money. Yo, this guy is literally just talking his own shit. Like, really?
So that's where you see how the fact that all these companies are buying each other. And for example, AWS. So AWS, for those who don't know, is Amazon Web Services. A lot of the websites that you see don't have servers. They just buy the bandwidth on Amazon Web Services. Amazon Web Services belong to Amazon. Amazon belong to Jeff Bezos, the same as the Wall Street Journal, the same as Twitch. So somebody up there can say, message of this guy is dangerous for the control of the resources of Africa that we have. Cut him off now. And listen, you can say, oh, you know what? I'm gonna have my own website. I'm gonna create my own Twitter for my followers.
They'll fuck you up the website because
service can say, "Nah, we're not gonna let you operate, so you don't have access to the internet." Or my donator is gonna send me PayPals and things. No. Or we're gonna
Patreon. Everything is cut off from you. You have no access.
Coinbase can be taken off, and you're like, wait a minute, there's a freedom here. We are actually going. We are tranquilly going into a world where you can just be cut off. And imagine when they find a way to decouple the soul from the body, and you now live in the blockchain.
Papa, vas-y doucement, tu es en train d'amener la science.
bro.
Vraiment.
When your body is in or imagine if, okay, let's go 30 years forward, 50 years forward, right? The internet is now something that we implement at a certain age in your brain, connected to the synapse, and we now connect to the internet just from our cyber brain, cyber eyes, whatever. People can disconnect you because then you become, so what we talk, we talk about China being this place where they're having this social
credit.
Yeah. But America is exactly the same.
Well, I mean, Europe, everything is becoming becoming more and more, but the way they package it is better.
Of course, but if I was African leader, the first thing I would do like China, I build my own internet, servers and everything for my people, my own YouTube, all platforms of thing, and make sure that it's decentralized and that the government cannot cut it.
But you'd be killed before you even start that. That's the thing.
I know. That's why
you would be killed. But this is where
I'm making my money and my music and just talking. Hey, I'm don't worry.
I'm no threat. But my question to you is, that's a question to you. Maybe the AI can see it. Okay? Since you're a friend of the AI, they might be like, that's our buddy, it's cool. But let me ask you a question. The guy said that when he dies, he wants to put his brain into the. So let's welcome. It's fine. Let's give him a pass.
Joel said, even some of the web hosting services reside on AWS. Yeah. Bruno is saying shadow ban.
But shadow ban, if you remember, Joe Rogan asked Mark Zuckerberg about that. Yeah, that's true. I can actually post those comments here. That's true. Let's be professional. Sorry.
Be professional. What the hell?
Even here,
Mountain of Inspiration. Yeah, Canada is becoming a dystopian. Mountain of Inspiration says we the people have the right to have a different approach and rise above.
True.
Probably people are supposed to have power, but the people that you elect just to hold the power. Like they don't care about what you say. Hey, listen, those people are just working for the re-election. They're not working.
But hold on, let me ask you a question. Right. So let me ask you a question. Now, this is, in a ideal world where, true, diligent, respectable, honest, and open conversation can be taking place at a certain specific point in time, where people like us with our beliefs, whoever we are, whether we are from the left, the right, the center, the this, the that, can all come together and say, okay, cool. Let's say okay, let's stick to Africa. So, Google, Amazon, iPhone, Y'all want our resources. Great. Can we actually have an open debate and conversation about the way you guys proceed into getting these things? Can it not be an open conversation? Because I understand they're fearful, but I think that people are not stupid. And more than anything, if you look at the way sometimes there are these uprisings of populations, it's a question still, huh? That's a question for you. But I'm just adding my footnote to that, is when people feel like they've been fucked over, they've been fooled by their leaders. Sometimes just having the open conversation, even though you might still be doing what you're going to be doing, but the fact that people have an opportunity to speak their voice and have an actual conversation that could help this whole thing be pushed forward to maybe a better positioning of how this is done, that has been killed. So for example, let's say you and I, Kay, we say, okay, let's create our own, internet, let's create our own, crypto market where we're going to have a series of things implemented to allow our populations to benefit from, the wonders of what this is, educating without risking to be killed, by maybe even working together, right, with some of these firms, because I think it's, it's possible. So my question is, do you think this is something that's
a long
we can achieve? My question. So let me simplify the question. Do you think that a conversation can take place between, for example, somebody like you, me, and fucking Jeff Bezos and all these guys, and say, okay, look, how about we do this differently? While you guys can still make the money, still have access to your resources, but we work from a sort of equal basis, even though you might have a little bit more power than us.
What is the point?
But the point is to achieve a level of fairness that will allow for your population to
listen to your question.
Yes.
Listen to your question. Your question was, how can we, et cetera, where you still have access to our resources? That's the problem. The problem is
no, because I've answered my own. I kind of answered my own question, but I haven't at the same time, because listen to me. What I'm saying is this: because we live in a globalized world, we are all interdependent, right? So you can't live off of. Yeah, okay, but until it's proven otherwise, we are all interdependent, right, of one another. So, in an ideal world, do you think such a conversation can take place? And your business mind now, how would you present it to one of these guys and say, look, this is how I think it can work? What would be your business plan?
The problem here is who am I talking to? Am I talking to governments, or am I talking to?
Well, you're talking.
Tech?
I mean, they're stronger than we're talking to his tech guys. We're talking with Jeff Bezos, for example.
Why would I change anything?
What do you mean? Why would you change anything?
If Jeff Bezos, why would I change anything?
As if you were Jeff Bezos.
Yeah. Who you? Why would I change anything?
Because if you don't change anything,
I have 300 billion in the bank. Oh, people are angry. Who they angry at? Jeff Bezos?
Yeah, but
no, the government. They're angry at you. Why are they angry at you? Because we are telling them that they are the ones that you should be angry at. They are the ones who are rich. They are the ones who are look at his watch. If you are the people, you look at the watch of who's near you, right?
Yeah.
You don't even go up there to outside the country and look at the watch of the person who's corrupted that person. You don't they are our resources. The resources are in the iPhones that are built in China and sold in the US.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And the people who say it's unfair on Twitter on their sofa, with social security, etc.
In the L-shaped sofa.
In the L-shaped sofa. The person who's suffering, he's throwing rocks at the leader who can't really do anything.